Hi everyone, my name is Holly Harris. I am an emotion code practitioner and an intuitive healing therapist, and today I want to talk to you about why muscle testing is the greatest tool that you can have in your tool belt to help you on your journey with TRS. What I have found is that so when I started my family on TRS, I muscle tested all of us, and I asked first and foremost if my body needed TRS, if it was a priority, and if it was safe for my body to take at this time. And then when I got yes on all of those questions, then the main question that you want to be asking is how many sprays can I take safely without my body over cleansing? And so the reason this is such a great tool is because I have about 15 maybe or so patients on TRS, and I use this technique and this tool with all of them, and I've taught them how to do it so that they can muscle test every day before they even take their sprays. And what I found is that when you muscle test before you take a spray that day, like when I first started, I was only testing for 1 spray a day, and I did that about a week, and then the second week I was only testing for 2, and then I got up to like 3, and then I had to go back down to 1 for about a week, and then all of a sudden I was testing for 5. So, and I'm steady staying at 5 now. And so the reason I say muscle testing every day is going to help reduce your symptoms and any over cleansing and over detoxing symptoms is because when you're testing your body and you're asking, your body knows how many you can take without over cleansing, without having symptoms, without having any kind of distress being caused by taking it. And so having this tool in your tool belt is going to be so amazing for this journey. It is going to take the stress out of it. It's going to take the worry out of having to worry that you're going to, have over cleansing symptoms, or you're going to have all this die off or whatever, I can tell you that I literally have had almost no symptoms. My husband's had almost no symptoms, and so has my son almost had no symptoms. And all 3 of us have been on it for almost 3 months. So my son, I have found with children that they tend to have a little bit more emotional detox. But I was still my son had it for maybe only a couple of days, like 2 or 3, and that was it in the very beginning. And that was because I was muscle testing him every day. So what I want to teach you guys to do is how to do this. And it's super simple and easy. And you're probably, if you don't know what muscle testing is, I'm going to explain it for you real quick. So muscle testing comes from the field of kinesiology. It was developed by a doctor named Dr. Goodhart. I think his first name is George, if I remember right. It's been around for about 50 years or so, I believe. So what he figured out is he was studying the muscles in the body and how they react and how each muscle is connected to different parts of the body. And he found out that when he would do certain things, it would make a muscle weak or a muscle strong. And so he developed this over time, that he figured out that he could just ask the body a question, and the body, if the answer was truthful, the body would be strong. If the answer was not truthful, it would be weak. So you can literally muscle test any muscle in the body. The easiest ways are just with your hands, or I've seen people use their arms where they muscle test with their arms. And a lot of times you'll see, like, if you've been to a chiropractor before who uses muscle testing, they'll have you stick your arm out and then they test on your arm. That's the easiest way to have someone else do it. So when you're doing it yourself, there's a couple of ways that are super effective. So I'm going to teach you to do it with your hands just because I find that to be the easiest. A lot of people use the sway test, and that's where you stand and then you ask your body a question, and when you go forward it'll be yes, when you go backwards it'll be no, or whatever your yes or no is for you. The other thing is you can kind of program your body or tell your body what you want yes or no to be also. So how I do it with my hands, and I originally did it like this. I would put my fingers together like this, and so you test your baseline, and so you ask, and some people, you can have what is called switching, and so then your yes can be your no and your no can be your yes. So you can do a couple when you're first starting. You can ask a couple of questions. You can say, like, my name is Holly, so my fingers stay strong. And the one key thing is you don't want to pull too hard. You just want it to be natural, okay? So like if I'm just trying to keep my fingers together, this is going to be really natural. If I'm trying really hard to like hold it, then I'm not doing it right. So hold your fingers together. You can try it this way, or so what I start doing is I use my middle and my thumb, and then I use my other middle and my thumb, and I stick my finger in between. So I press these two down. This is what I hold with, and then I hold my fingers in between, and I say yes, and it's strong, like I try to press them open with these two, and it's strong for no, or it's strong for yes, and then for no, I can't hold these two down when I try to press them open. This is my favorite way. I find it to be, my fingers get tired when I do it this way, but if you're only just testing, like I'm muscle testing my clients all day long, so I need something that's a little bit less strenuous. But so I used to do it this way when I first started muscle testing. You can also use your finger like this, and you can use your other finger, and you just kind of hold your hand like this and you press. So like yes is strong, no, I can't hold my finger up. You can hold your arm kind of like at a crook, like at an L or like a square shape, and you can just hold your, let's see if I can show you this. You can hold your arm out like this, and then you just press down, but I just hold it to my side right here, and then you can muscle test like yes, no. So then trying to think, those are the most common ways. You can literally muscle test like your foot or your leg, like any joint is really easy. I have a friend who holds her legs together, and she sticks her hand in between her legs, and she'll try to press her leg open, and it'll stay strong if it's yes. If it's no, then her leg will not, her legs won't stay shut together. There's any way you can think of, you can pretty much do it. So the one thing you want to do before you muscle test is you want to prep to muscle test, because there's a couple of things that can cause you to get not correct answers. So for instance, I have learned that I have to clear my ego and my expectations before I can muscle test. So there's really many different ways you can do this, but you can, I use my mind to do it, but you can also use like your governing meridian runs up the center of your body, and so you can run a magnet up it, or you can just use your hand and like pull. So what you do is you just, this is how I do it, so I'll just show you. I close my eyes, I imagine a dial out in front of me, and my ego, if you're a little bit more intuitive, you can tell what your ego's at. Like mine's at 50% right now. So what I do is I just turn it down to below 5%. So I usually turn it to 4%. And then my expectations, you can imagine a dial for that one and turn your expectations off. Or another really good exercise that I've used with some of my clients before is you imagine a box in your head, and all the ideas and thoughts and expectations you have about what you think your body wants, you got to get rid of those before you can muscle test. Because what can happen is, like, let's say I think I need TRS, right? So I'm saying in my mind, yeah, I need TRS, I need TRS, I need TRS. Yes, I know I need that. I know I need that. So then I'm telling my mind that I need it, and that's the answer my mind's going to give me. So we have to get rid of all expectations before we muscle test so that we can get a straight up clear answer. So your subconscious mind is actually telling you what your body wants instead of what you think you want. So a lot of times our ego will get in the way, or expectations will get in the way, and so we won't get correct answers. So for your expectations, I just take all my thoughts about what I think I need and I put them in a box, and I just close the box. Another thing that I do is I just I imagine like my body just being like a blank slate and my mind being a blank slate, and so that gets rid of all expectations. Or it's just, you can literally do anything with your mind. So whatever you're telling your mind, your subconscious you want to do is what you want to do, is what your mind will do. So sometimes I imagine, this will kind of sound kind of funny, but I imagine like a tornado coming in and just taking all that extra junk and that garbage and just kind of leaving with it, and then I'm clear and I have no expectations, my ego's not in the way, and then I go on to muscle testing. So you can ask like, yes, and so when you start, you want to get a baseline and make sure that your yes is yes and your no is no, so that you're not switched. So you could ask a question like, my name is Holly, and I get strong. My name is Bob. No. Okay. So then what you do is you don't even have to have your TRS on you. people like chiropractors and different things, I see them a lot of times, they'll have like the actual sample of the TRS or the herb or whatever it is that they're testing, and they'll have you hold it and then they'll muscle test on your arm. I don't ever do that. I don't need to. It's all about what works for you. So I just imagine TRS in my mind. I see the bottle, or I've held it in my hands, so my body kind of knows what the frequency is. So I just say, do I need TRS today? Yes. Is it safe for me to take TRS today? Yes. So how many sprays can I take without over cleansing? 1, 2. So that's how much I need today. So that's all I do. Every day before I go to take my TRS, I make sure that it's a priority for me, that it's safe for me to take, and how many sprays I can take without over cleansing. And this has literally eliminated pretty much every symptom that I think that you could have from TRS. I've experienced some great gains. I'm still getting exactly what I need from it. My brain fog is gone. I know I'm detoxing because I'm having different things, like I tasted copper in my mouth the other day. My husband is bipolar and OCD, and he's been taking it along with me for 3 months. He has had almost no symptoms. In fact, all of his symptoms of bipolar are gone. His OCD is pretty much gone. There was a week or so where he wasn't taking it, and almost all of his bipolar stuff came back. The other thing that you can do, so this is how, when I have a client who I think needs TRS, so like if you're first starting and you're wondering whether you should take TRS or not, or if you need it, I never bothered to test if we had heavy metals because I've always known we've had them. My husband took Accutane and a bunch of different things, and I've always known he had heavy metal toxicity, and that's why I was so excited when I found TRS, because I knew that detoxing heavy metals can be dangerous sometimes. So when I started him, and before I ever start my clients on it, I just ask, like, how many bottles of TRS does their body want? And so, like, for my husband, let's see, Justin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He still needs 6 more bottles. So, and when I test a client, that's how I know how bad their heavy metal toxicity is. Most of the time when I test people, I've had people need anywhere between 3 all the way up to 12 bottles. So that's how I kind of gauge how bad their heavy metal toxicity is. And everybody's body detox is different. So that's one way you can know how much you're going to need. Instead of just taking it for 6 months or whatever, you can muscle test and say, how many bottles do I need? And sometimes you could be taking it for 3 months, and then you could go back and say, how many more bottles do I need? And you may have needed 11 when you started, but your body now says you only need 6. And sometimes that's just because it works better than your body originally thought it was going to, or, you know, it's really just, it can really go anyway. So that's another thing I do. I also, the reason I know TRS is so great is because I also muscle test every supplement, everything that I give my clients, my family, and all that. And I muscle test it on a scale of 1 to 10. So you can use this on literally anything. So like when I ask, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is the quality of TRS? And I get 10, 9, 8. So it's at an 8. So that's actually pretty high. When I muscle test, I rarely... I can't even remember a time when I've ever come across anything that was a 10. 9 is usually the highest I ever get stuff at, and 8 is anything over a 6 is really good, in my opinion. That's how I know that it's something I want. So like, if I need something, I go to the health food store, I look at all, there's like 10 different magnesiums on the shelf. I will must test, and I will just look at each of them. I'll say, do I need this one? Do I need this one? Do I need this one? And I need this one. So then I know, like, 4 bottles in, I need the 4th bottle. This is the one my body wants. This is the one it likes. And, this is the one that's not going to cause, you can ask, like, is this safe for me? Is it a priority? So what I usually do is I don't take anything unless it's a priority for my body, because my body can want 500 different supplements, but that doesn't mean it's a priority. And I find that your body can be more effective in the things that it uses when you're only taking things that are a priority for you at that time, so your body can correct the thing that is the most out of balance, and then you can move on to whatever it is that you need to fix or work on. So if you're not comfortable with muscle testing, geez, I can't talk today, feel free to message me. I'd be happy to muscle test for you. But I strongly suggest trying it, and really anybody can muscle test. And if you're having issues and you can't figure out why you can't muscle test,